Well, hello. It's been a long time since I've done a live video, so here it is, guys. I just want to say thank you guys for showing me some love on this on the YouTube. I'm getting I'm getting everything caught up. Thank goodness. I just want to say thank you. The YouTube page is really growing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Ghost Stories Told from the South. I'm your host, Stephen Booth. All right, let's get this audio part going and kick off this podcast. What do you say, everybody? Well, hello, and welcome back to another creepy, scary. I'm going to redo that. That was kind of loud. I'm going to redo that because that was kind of loud. My audio music was a little loud on that. Well, hello, and welcome back to another scary, scary edition of Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and I got some skilly stuff for you today, boys and girls. All right, man. Hope everybody's having a great day and a great week. It's finally sunny here in Texas. We've had a week of cloudy crap, cold weather, drizzling, rainy, kind of Seattle stuff. And man, I tell you what, I couldn't live like that. I mean, man, it's just a week of that shit. No wonder people get depressed with that weather, because man, it was just creepy, grungy, just bleh weather. But it's nice and sunny here. Sorry, guys, I'm late. I know it's Sunday. Usually I do that Saturday. I told everybody, oh, I'm going to have it. But got some good news. Finally got my editing stuff figured out. What the problem was, I've been working on. I had this new program downloaded to my computer, my Microsoft computer, about the new video editing. I've been figuring that out. Finally got it figured out. Been loading stuff up on the YouTube page. If you're not a subscriber there, go subscribe. It's my YouTube page. I'm getting it caught up. I'm on episode 184 there, but I got 10 more to load up to get up to 195 to this one that I'm doing right now. So 10 more episodes, it'll be up to par, and I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's showing me love there and showing me love on all the platforms on my podcast. Thank you. I'm being heard from around the world. The numbers are great. I just want to get them up some more, guys. It would be awesome. But I am proud of the numbers I do get. Because, guys, I don't advertise. I don't push my podcast out there on people. I mean, I promote it through myself, but I don't spend a lot of money. So I think the numbers I do have for someone doing it independently like I am is pretty damn good. Because I do that's out of my house. I do my own editing, my own everything. So, yeah. But anyways, man, I hope you guys are having a great time this week. A good week. I am. I just want to say thank you once again for the love and the support. Give me some 5-star reviews. Comment on the show, guys, if you like this or not. I know my dyslexia sometimes kicks in. It sounds like I can only read at a second grade level, but I try my best, and I really love doing this, and I want it to kick off, and I hope it will someday. But if you're watching the video to this, hope everyone likes my Jason Voorhees face in the background. That's a mask I got my son for Christmas. It comes with the hockey mask, too. So you can check that out on the old video page. But anyways, like I said, just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Now I'm getting caught up on stuff. This will be every Saturday morning. Like I said, I stayed up Friday night, Saturday night, working on my video editing and stuff. So got it down. I can get to back to loading up stuff on YouTube. And another announcement: I'm going to go live. I don't know which night to pick though. Friday or Saturday. I don't know yet. I might do Friday. I don't know. I don't know. But we'll just go do it by ear. Don't forget, check me out on Ghost Stories Told from the South, my Facebook. I'm going to start keeping that up too. So But like I said, a lot of stuff's rolling this year. The year's looking good for me. And I would like to know if I started selling shirts, if anybody would be interested in merch. Let me know. Leave a comment. Tell me to F off. Tell me to piss off. Tell me you like the show, you hate the show. I don't care because I've already got some comments. Oh, that, man, I really like the guy's personality, but I just can't get into it. Which, I mean, if y'all bash me, I mean, that's the one thing about doing this. You got to learn to take criticism. So if y'all don't think I'm doing a good job, tell me. If you think I'm doing a good job, tell me. I can take it. I'm a big boy. I won't get my feelings hurt. But anyways, let's get on with some stories. What do you say? Let me get a drink of water. All right, guys. Let's cover our first story. Our first story is about Fort Morgan in Alabama. And if you're new time to watching the videos, I do my editing through the show, the audio part, so that way I ain't got to go back and do it when I'm done. This way, I put in my intro music to the different stories as I go, so when I'm done podcasting, I'm done with the show. Just going to get my music real quick for the intro. And we'll get back. Alright, guys. Fort Morgan in Alabama. Fort Morgan is a historic site located near the mouth of Mobile, Alabama. Of Mobile Bay in Alabama. It has long been a place of mystery and intrigue. Shrouded in tales of supernatural activity. Over the years, many ghost stories have been told about the fort, leaving a haunting history that has captivated locals and visitors alike. Now it's possible to uncover the ghosts of the past and explore the rich history of these unique and spooky places. Welcome to the haunting history of Fort Morgan. Located near the mouth of Mobile Bay in Alabama, Fort Morgan is a okay, just did the same thing but repeating it. Okay. For centuries, curious visitors have been captivated by its haunting history. Eager to uncover the ghost of the past, in its blog, we'll dive into the history of Fort Morgan and experience some of the famous ghost stories and legends associated with the area. We'll also discuss the importance of preserving the rich heritage and why you should visit this spooky destination. So if you are ready to adventure into the unknown and uncover the ghost of the past, come along with Steve. All right, here's the history. Fort Morgan was first established in 1883 as an American frontage on the east side of Mobile Bay in order to protect the town and harbor from British attacks. Originally known as Fort Boyer, it was renamed Fort Morgan in 1821 after the Revolutionary War hero General Daniel Morgan. The fort played a important role in several important battles throughout history, including the Battle of Mobile Bay during the Civil War, and also an essential base during World War II when it served as a training ground for naval officers. Today, Fort Morgan is preserved as a historic site and is open to the public for exploration. Okay, now here's the haunting history. Over the years, Fort Morgan has developed quite a reputation for its supernatural activity. Legends have reported seeing apparitions of former soldiers in mysterious lights in the night sky. Some even claim to have heard disembodied voices and strange noises coming from the inside of the walls. One legend even claims that if you stand at a certain spot at midnight, you can hear cannonballs crashing into the walls, just like they did during the battle long ago. Whether these stories are true or not, one thing is certain. Fort Morgan is home to some seriously spooky tales. Exploring the ghosts of the past, if you are brave enough to venture into Fort Morgan, there are plenty of opportunities to explore its supernatural activity. Take a night tour of the fort. Take a night tour of the fort and search for ghostly apparitions or strange lights in the sky. You can also wander around the grounds and uncover some of the mysterious or mysteries. Who knows what secrets you might find? If you don't have time for the full tour, there are plenty of spots around the fort where you can soak in its spooky atmosphere. Just be sure to watch out for any strange noises or unexplained phenomenon. All right. Fort Morgan has an incredible rich history that is worth preserving for future generations. It played an essential role in battles throughout history and was home to many brave soldiers who fought for the country. Its preservation efforts are continuing to ensuring that the unique heritage is not forgotten. Visitors can explore the historic building and monuments or take part in one of its many events such as a overnight stay or living in the history's camps. There are also plenty guided tours available that will provide you with detailed information about history and its importance. The haunting history of Fort Morgan is filled with mystery and intrigue that will captivate visitors from the walls of life. Whether you are looking for a spooky adventure or simply want to learn more about the historic site, there is something for everyone at Fort Morgan. So please come and enjoy. See, in a place like that, you know it's got to be rich with ghost activity and stuff because of the history there, because of all the battles. You know, I mean, there was young men who died, older men who died, and their souls or whatever are stuck there in its loopy-loop. So, that would be a cool place to visit, man. I think that'd be a cool place. Like I said, people hear all sorts of voices there. Footsteps. I mean, and there's soldiers and captains and stuff that haunt the place. So, it's got a lot going for it. Sorry. All right. Let's go to our next story. What do you say? Doing my editing real quick. All right, let's do the next next story. All right, our next story is now if I'm butchering its name up, I'm sorry. The Dresch House in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Not long ago, the once great home of Dr. John R. Driss, built in Tuscaloosa, was an important danger. I'm gonna get my fucking bifocals. Sorry guys, give me a minute. I gotta get my other eyes on. Well, because some of these, when I printed stuff off, some of the sites, and I'm still trying to figure out some of this stuff. But sometimes when I print it, it's not as big as some stuff. All right. Not long ago. Okay, I read that. Okay, Tuscaloosa was an imminent danger. Long vacant, the place was home to assorted varmints, a favorite haunt of the homeless, a target of accommodations by the city, and an eyesore to many locals. Today, thanks to the generosity of the Southside Baptist Church and the foresight of the Tuscaloosa County Preservation Society, say that 3 times fast. The preservations are breathing new life into the historic structure, and its future looks promising. Built in 1837 as a local point for plantations boarding the city of Tuscaloosa, the Dresch House bears a long and troubled history. Dr. Dresch remodeled the house in the 1850s, adding columns and a distinctive tower. And in 1887, his furniture lost his fortune lost to war and gambling, and his health ruined by alcohol. Dresch fell dead on the home's elegant covered stairwell. Okay. He was survived by his wife Sarah and his mentally ill daughter Catherine. I hate it when they put this in the parentheses shit. Oh, give me a minute. Okay. The widow Dresch, who had been left more than her elegant house and the right to live in the house, cared for Catherine, raised the boys, and struggled on in gentle poverty until her death in 1884. The contents of the home was sold at public auction. The house remained in private residence until 1906, when it was converted into a public school. By the 1930s, however, the structure had fallen on hard times and was purchased by a local entrepreneur who opened a garage in the parlor and parked wrecked cars in the front yard and nailed an unsightly Tuscaloosa Wrecking Company sign to the grounds. To famed photographer Walker Evans, the contrast between the once elegant house and the elegant tidiness spoke volumes about what happened to the South. His 1930s photo of Dresch House was a wrecking company remains among the most often reproduced photograph of Alabama. The negativity now resides in the archives of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. In the 1940s, the Southside Baptist Church purchased the house as a meeting site, and eventually built a large building, a large building to the house, and a freestanding Sunday school building on the property. The house remained in its way until 1995 when the church, with a dwindling and aging population, closed its doors. The structure was leased for several years to the Heritage Commons of Tuscaloosa County, which had little money to put into it, and finally offered for sale by the Tuscaloosa County Baptist Association. Aware of the Dresch House was an important historic property, church members approached the Tuscaloosa County Preservation Society, whose members excuse me, whose members were interested in the property but unable to meet the purchase price. Much has happened since. The society has re-roofed the house, hired animal control experts to remove the creatures that reside inside, repaired damage and other openings caused by Hurricanes Ivan and Katrina, and with the aid of a $32,600 grant from the Alabama Historical Communications or Commissions, cleaned out and decommissioned the toxic entire. A daunting task undertaken by professional cleaners over a period of several years. One of the requirements of the grant agreement was that the public would be able to visit the home after the cleanup was done and completed. Finding interesting parties was no problem. 2 local paranormal groups was annexed to investigate the house. And according to witnesses, the findings were startling. Piano keys would strike when nobody was in the room, objects would move, and fuzzy figures appeared in photos. In October, the Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group teamed up with Preservation Society and the University of Alabama Student Government Association to host 6 sold-out haunted building tours. The highlights of which was a visit inside of the Dresch House. Local and regional media was presented for the tours, as they were for both paranormal investigations. Someone tried unsuccessfully to burn the house down on Halloween night, but once again the Dresch House provided it is a survivor, and it's still there today. So, if you want to go check out a spooky place, go check out this place. It sounds like it's open to the public, and it should be easy to get to. That sounds like a cool place to visit, though. But a place like that with that much history, man, I guarantee there's a lot of hauntings and stuff there. And then with all the remodeling and stuff, I just like old houses like that. I think it's cool, man. All right. Well, let's get on with the next story. What do you say? All right, boys and girls. Our next story is the Old Bryce Hospital in Alabama. This abandoned insane asylum in Alabama is hands down one of the creepiest places in the Southeast. The faculty remained in use until the late 1970s, when it was left to the revengeance of time, which means it was abandoned and nature just took over. Nature and vandals, nature and vandals, and perhaps the wandering spirits of patients themselves still wander here. Some call the Jemison Center of the Jemison Center or the Old Bryce Hospital, while most locals call it simply Old Bryce. The three-story building, with its imposing white center, vacant graffiti-littered walls, and crumbling brick structure, is sure to put any visitors on edge. Excuse me. Top that with the heroic history of the old institution, and you have the perfect storm for a haunting. There is another Bryce hospital that was originally labeled an insane asylum. This is often confused with the abandoned Old Bryce. Bryce Hospital, however, is located in nearby Tuscaloosa and is still in use for as a psychiatric hospital today. It was built in 1861 and is currently owned by the University of Alabama. The abandoned Old Bryce is this article is located in Northport, Alabama. It was built in the late 1930s to house black patients who were segregated from white patients at Bryce Insane Asylum in Tuscaloosa. It remained an all-black patient faculty until the late 1960s after the Civil Rights Act was passed. The Old Bryce was originally named the Jemison Center prior to the Civil War. William Jameson founded a large plantation on the site known as Cherokee Place. His son, Robert Jameson, an elderly prompted of mental health care in Alabama, and bequeathed the land to the Alabama State Board of Mental Health upon his death. The site remained a working plantation long after slavery. Long after slavery was abolished. With able-bodied patients being used as free labor. The state-funded institution was sometimes called I'm not saying that word, a free insane asylum. I ain't doing that. The colony are referred to as Alabama State Farm Colony. I ain't saying that either. The Old Bryce building was completed and firmly disconnected as the Jameson Center in 1939. The Old Bryce in Northport had terrible standards of treatment and cruelty for the mentally ill. Ice baths. Yeah, they thought back then like ice baths. Sticking somebody in some fucking ice bath would cure them of shit. You know, just all sorts of stuff. Shock therapy, lobotomies, filthy conditions were just a few of the horrors suffered by the patients at Old Bryce. In fact, reporters and whistleblowers who visited the site in the 1970s used its horrified conditions as an example to push for a mental health care reform. The hospital closed in 1977. Over the years, the abandoned structure has become a go-to place for vagrants, local teens, paranormal researchers, and simply the curious. Visitors claim they have had terrifying experiences on the campus of the Old Bryce and inside the crumbling structure. Lurking dark shadows, disembodied voices, chilling cold spots, and physical structures and pushes are just a few of the dark things experienced at Old Bryce. So you go here, you might have a chance of getting pushed. Hopefully they don't push you down the stairs. If you decide to visit the Old Bryce yourself, conditions are strong, or caution is strongly advised. The living who frequent the old faculty and the conditions of the building are among the real dangers today of the old asylum. Police patrol the location regularly to and strongly advised against visiting the building. Fires, tornadoes, and vandalism over the years have left the structure in very bad conditions. So be careful if you go there. See, man, I like insane asylums and just asylums and hospitals. Like, man, they're just covered with, especially insane asylums from back in them days, because the treatment of them. I mean, it was ridiculous treating people this way. You're like, really? How do you get away with this? But it is what it is. But thank goodness times aren't like that anymore. Yeah. Oh. All right. Our next story is a good one. All right, our next story is the Pioneer Saloon. The Pioneer Saloon in Nevada. The Pioneer Saloon was built in 1913 by a prominent businessman in his day. A Mr. George Faley built as a place for miners and others to gather and tell stories, have a few drinks, and maybe meet up with some ladies of the night. Okay. The Pioneer Saloon was a gathering place for townspeople to get to know one another and possibly make a wager or two. The tragedy of the Clark Gable and Carl Lombard. In the early 1940s, the Pioneer Saloon was featured by none other than the famous actor, it was frequented by the famous actor Clark Gable. He and Carly Lombard visited the town many times. His famous link to the Pioneer Saloon came about very tragically. He was waiting for word of a terrible plane crash that the love of his life and wife of fewer than 2 years, Carly Lombard, was unfortunately involved. The plane she was in had crashed into the nearby Potosi Mountain, and word came through that there were no survivors. It is said that Clark Gable waited in the Pioneer Saloon for 3 days, waiting for the word about her fate and then for news of the recovery of her body. Once her body was found, it is said that he took it with him for a proper burial, and that he was never seen at the Pioneer Saloon again. Today there is a room showcasing the history known as the Clark Gable and Carly Lombard Room, preserving history for the future generations in a huge part of the bar, and it's still there today. I gotta turn my heat on. My feet are kind of chilly. Yeah, I got a little heater under my little podcasting desk here, and I get a little chilly. Okay, here's the colorful history. The story of Joe Armstrong. Pioneer Saloon is a fully operational saloon today, and many visitors visit by the colorful history in checkered by its colorful history and checkered history. Some might even say fabled past. It seems that another famous event occurred at the Pioneer Saloon. This one happened on July 3rd, 1915, just 2 years after the saloon had opened for business. It seems that a group of prospectors, miners, and other assorted characters were playing a game of poker at the poker table near the bar. One of the gamblers tried to cash out with a whopping $10. Yep, $10. And uh, was thought by the dealer, Joe Armstrong, to be cheating. The gambler thought the dealer, Joe Armstrong, was dealing a crooked card game. It seems, as the story goes, that Joe Armstrong put out a pistol and imprinted it into the gambler, whose name was Paul Gossi. With most of the shots going into the wall, it was said that the last 6 shots. It was said that at least 6 shots were shot. It is said that at least 6 shots total were fired. 3 of the bullet holes still remain today in the wall of the Pioneer Saloon. A stark reminder of the lawlessness that was that was in the early 1900s. Used as a way of settling disputes, gunfire was rapid and served as a way to try to bring law and order into society. The effectiveness of the method, however, is questionable. Okay, now here's some more history. The saloon has been running constantly for almost 100 years. 2013 marking its 100th anniversary. The saloon is actually built from an old tin tiles that were thought to have been bought from Sears and Roebuck back in the 1930s. One of the oldest remaining building structures in the United States that was made from these tin tiles. When you first look at it from the outside, it almost looks as if it is made from old cider block. But upon closer inspection, you realize it is indeed made of these thin tiles. The saloon is both fascinating to look at and full of history. Just look at the 3 remaining bullet holes in the wall. And in fact, 1 bullet still remains lodged in the wall. For a glimpse into history, according to one of the bartenders, the old bullet holes were removed when a door was put in. But 3 still remain, and on the wall is a collection of artifacts like the deck of cards that was being used at the fateful deal. Here are the Pioneers. Here's about the Pioneer Saloon and movies. Several movies have been filmed at the old Pioneer Saloon, including Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, an old Cheech and Chong movie, the Conjugality 2, The Mexican was filmed there. And, of course, 1942, Clark Gable became one of the most famous actors while in awaiting word as to the fate of his beautiful wife. Okay, I've already told that story. That's some of the famous stuff about this place. Now let's get with the ghost. There are said to be at least 2 ghosts in the Pioneer Saloon. One of the ghosts is gambler Paul Koski, who was killed in the ill-fated poker game back in 1915. People often claim to have seen him over by the poker tables and other places in the bar. Another ghost is thought to be that of a prospector or a miner wearing a crumpled-up cowboy hat, and according to those who have seen him, He is not very tall. He is thought to be just hanging out at the bar and seems to not want to mean harm to anybody. Nearly every employee of the bar is said to have been who. Nearly every employee of the bar is said to have seen the old miner, and is regarded as harmless. Well, that's good. There could potentially be another ghost, that of a former owner of the bar, who, according to legend, was drinking at the bar when he collapsed and died right there at the bar. According to this same story, the bartender who was working that day finished the saloon owner's glass of beer, crashed the glass, and right after the former owner died, it was said that his wife continued to work at the bar until her death about 5 years later. So, with a place like that, it's got a lot of rich history. So go check the place out. The old Pioneer Saloon in Nevada. Nevada. Alright. Got one more story left, guys. Alright, guys and girls, let's get on with the next story. Alright, the next story is the Yellow Jacket Mine. In the 1800s, dreams of striking it rich sent hundreds of people running to the coast. Mining towns were set up to host a wide variety of travelers who packed up everything they had and risked their lives at a chance for success. Many dragged their families across the country, away from everything they knew, and in an attempt to make better way for themselves. Unfortunately, in Gold Hill, Nevada, one fateful night, those families could do nothing but stand back and watch as the men they loved struggled for their lives in a blazing fire. The 1800s boom was hosted by companies like Comstock, who employed between 500 and 1,000 men to work around the clock in the underground system of tunnels. Working along shifts in bad conditions, workers were faced injury and death from illnesses, dehydration, pollution, and cave-ins, and fires happened. As they dug and blasted, they spent their days endlessly moving ore and dirt from the underneath the Nevada desert. One such operation was located in Gold Hill, Nevada, as the Yellow Jacket Mine. The operation ran successfully for a time, pumping out many series of expensive finds. Unfortunately, April 7th of 1869, a mining fire took the lives of over 30 men as they burned to death in what was known as the worst mining disaster in state history. The miners' families and friends and co-workers watched standing outside the dark as firefighters struggled to enter the mines. The fire started at the 800-foot level. The fire had been discovered, but in the days before cell phones and the internet, news did not travel fast enough to save the lives of the fated men. They had already been lowered into the mines before the news had reached the town. Unable to reach the men, firefighters were called but barely able to make it into the entrance before they were pushed back from the violent flames and fumes. Timbers collapsed on the men below, and gases raged as the fire soared through the tunnels. The source of the fire was a lantern credited to an unattended lantern that mixed with the gases below the surface, created a fire so big and so intense that it burned for days. The fires perished, and despite eventually sealing the tunnels off, it remained hot for several years. No evacuation was possible, no rescues were made, and no bodies were ever recovered. So these poor souls got stuck in there while that's just a horrible way to freaking die, man. Get stuck in a fucking mining tunnel and then a fire breaks out and you're screwed. You can't go do anything. It's a hell of a way to go. See, tragic shit like that is what causes a lot of this ghost stuff too. Just 3 weeks later, miners were back at it. The promise of riches called out to the men, who began again to break their backs in search of treasures. Unfortunately, instead of treasures, the men began to have constant issues with machinery and equipment. They reported seeing apparitions and hearing the voices of their deceased mining brothers. Many reported feeling ill or having an overwhelming feeling of dread when they entered the mines. Nearby, the Gold Hill Hotel was a common place for the miners and their families to stay. It included a miner's changing cabin that was often used as a break room. It was also very popular. The last place miners visited before their gruesome deaths that terrible night. Hotel visitors report having the apparitions of an extra card player at their gambling tables and seeing doors, chairs, or drinks being pushed or moved. They've reported smelling a strong perfume without being able to locate the source or hearing footsteps outside these rooms. Many have heard talking or furniture being moved, thinking it was the room next door when they were the only guest at the time. Yeah, that one sounds like a pretty cool place to visit too, man. Anytime there's big tragic stuff like that, man, it usually leaves some ghost hauntings, because when something tragic like that happens. And another thing, guys, these places I'm talking about, some of them are open to the public, some are closed and patrolled by cops. So if you want to go see these places, make sure you make the right request to be there so you don't get in trouble or something, But other than that, man, I think that was a pretty good show today. Just remember, be safe. Don't do too much exploring and, get caught or something. But I encourage you to go out and explore, because there's something more out there than just what we see sometimes. But I'm glad you guys stopped by today. Sorry I'm late again, but I promise everything will be back on Saturday now. Go check out my YouTube page. I'm getting everything caught up there. And, yeah, man, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show. We got 5 more shows until... What? 4-year anniversary, guys. I can't wait. Like I said, y'all help me get my numbers up. Tell everybody about it. Like I said, my podcast is on Spotify. It's pretty much on every big platform now. Go check me out. I'm anywhere you can find me. Check out my YouTube page, Ghost Stories Told from the South. I'm getting it caught up. Go check me out on Facebook. So, yeah, man. Glad you guys stopped by today. Thank you. Thank you so much for the growth of the show. Thank you for listening around the world. And until next time, guys, don't get too scared now. Don't be too scary. And tell some scary stories. We'll see you later, guys. And yeah, have a good one. Okay. Well, guys, I always forget y'all are here. I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching the show. I'll be back next week for another show. Like I said, I'm going to start going live once a week too. So we'll have that to look forward to. But until then, guys, y'all be good. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tell my good old friend Jason Voorhees over here bye-bye too. But we'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Have a great one. See ya. This has been Steven from Ghost Stories Told from the South, man. See you later.